Let's talk the Truman Show. How do we feel
All
about
right.
it, guys? You usually have your like little information thing,
Yeah,
Justin.
you
Did
want
you
me to,
do that this week?
I have it. Wait,
You
I have it.
have it.
I
You
did.
have it.
I did some of my homework, not all of it.
Okay.
Partial credit.
Because
So
we decided that's your. I mean, we all like said that's your job, so you
we
wouldn't let us
all.
down on your job, would you?
I mean, I'll
Yeah.
do it. I'll do a job, but the
Yeah.
level of the quality it might vary from week to week. It just depends.
Okay. All right.
Well, I usually don't like when a comedian does a serious role, but in this case, it was he did a good job.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'll say like with this, I think pretty much everybody's seen Truman Show. All right,
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's a cult classic. It's famous, or whatever, and it's got Jim Carrey in it,
yeah.
and it's one of his best movies. I think it's a little bit fair to say.
He was filming it around the same time as I think Ace Ventura and then Liar Liar, I believe. So he was doing this serious role while doing the funny roles. So that's
Yeah, two other great movies, and then I don't know. It's like I always remember it as being like funny, and I don't know if it's just like the more times I see it, it's like this time around, it just was like really depressed in a good way. It was like really depressing and just really like felt sci-fi horror at this time around. I don't know if you guys got like similar feelings around that.
I don't know because it's the ending is the part of it that always kind of gets me. That's the one thing that every time I watch it, I enjoy it. I think it's a fun movie and it's relatively hopeful the whole way through and it's well written and all that. And every time you watch it, you pick up on something else you may have missed the first few times. But the ending always throws me off because
Like
once
emotionally, or you don't like it.
he's not free. Once he goes out into the real world, he goes from being this kind of small town nobody to now he's this massive celebrity. He's got to deal with the actual son and
He's
just
got
how the
he's
world
got
works.
the childhood trauma that they actually like instilled on him. Like all
Oh,
that
maybe
trauma
maybe it's like some super meta thing about being famous.
Yeah, like if there's
I
a
kind of thought
sequel,
about that a little bit.
does he come back? Is he like, I want to go? I wish I would have stayed on the show, or I want to go back.
No, we got. I mean, the big thing, like the big motivation, everything was to find the girl he like actually had a true connection with. I think as long as he's on the Truman Show, he can never have a true connection. That like, even for famous people, like that's still something they can still have. It's a lot more difficult. For them,
it's saying the most important thing is like a relationship with another human at the end of the day, like finding true love and connection and potentially starting a family and all that, because it kept cutting back and forth between that chick that he like had that moment with
Hear me out.
as he was escaping.
What if he's like, okay, maybe the show wouldn't work anymore actually at that point if they knew. But what if he's like, I'll come back, but I want to bring in like some of my crew, like my people, and you'll still take care of us and everything's cool. And then our kid will be like the next one on the show. But like
that's
they're
so
there,
creepy, man. I
they're
mean,
there
like
to like
the
you know,
movie
but
just gets
you're guaranteed,
progressively creeper.
like
Like
a
when they
safe,
have that
happy
shot,
life.
when they have that shot of them like being like you were ever since you were born, you're on camera. Actually, in fact, when you're still in the womb, we had you on camera. Super creepy, and like
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't just imagine like even suggesting that for anyone else. But let's do this. Let's try to keep this a little bit more format. I have a lot I want to say about it, but let's kind of like try to start from the beginning and kind of work our way up. If we can kind of remember chronologically of how the scenes work. You would have no problem with that, Justin, right? Because you just saw it, right? Because you just watched it this week.
Yeah,
Yes,
Like
that's
we all
right.
did. Yeah.
I love this because if you accuse me of something, I can just be like, "You're talking to him, right?" Pass it off.
Evagay. Well, yeah. But no, so the first thing that happens, right, is there's some like flashes of some scenes, right? Like how does it open up? They kind of just talking about the Truman
They
Show.
have a series of really artsy shots of him like looking into secret cameras and stuff, and it's like this big, collage.
This is like an advertisement for the Truman Show, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's also little product placement advertisements throughout the entire movie of the products within the world and stuff like that.
Well, I think I messaged you guys. I was like, interesting to spoil the mystery right at the beginning, which is a choice. Some things do that and it works out. And I think this is obviously an example where spoiling the mystery works. So you're not really focused on, what's going on, because I think typically with these type of movies, it's like he'd be going on with his life and you just see these things happen. You're like, what's going on? Something's not right. And then you're like, by the end you find out that, oh my God, he's in this like TV show. Like, what's going on? But no, they didn't do that. They were like, no, he's in a TV show, and you're just watching him try to fit the character himself, figure it out.
Mm-hmm. I think that's to instill the Lovecraftian horror.
What do you mean by Lovecraftian horror? I hear that term all the time. I've never read H.P. Lovecraft. I don't know it. Like, I've heard it. I can't be the only one.
The fear you cannot see.
It's a little Lovecraftian in the when it's like veering on what you guys were saying about like the sci-fi horror, existential dread, the feeling of dread. Like everybody's watching him. He's like watching. They're watching you. You know what I mean? No matter what he's doing. I don't know if you noticed the hidden cameras in his wedding ring. There was hidden cameras in all the posts everywhere he goes.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. It's very.
How many cameras are there? There's a lot of them.
This was like a weird, wholesome 1984, in a way.
Yeah. So then, right after that, he's going to work, and like he has like some of the routine things that happens to him like every day to like keep him scared. The dog jumps up on him and everything like that. And it's like find out later it's a tracking dog, and one of the lights falls out of the sky for the set, and it's just like
that's a really good inciting incident. Yeah. That's a really good inciting incident. Plus, with him digging in the garden and stuff, you wonder, because that's also where he escaped later on in the movie. It makes you wonder how long he's actually been planning it. I mean, and he's also piecing together the woman of his dreams that he had the connection with that one time. The eyes were like the last part of the whole collage or whatever. So it implies he's been
interesting.
He's been planning it for a long time.
Yeah.
Well,
and then what happens after that? He goes to work. Somebody help me out. No. I have terrible retention.
Love interest, right? He gets that girl comes into his life.
Yeah, but that doesn't they don't go into that till
he goes to work, and then he is trying to secretly, book like a flight or a vacation to Fiji, which they already know because obviously they're on the other side of the phones and stuff. So like immediately right when he picks up the phone, like one of his coworkers is like poking over the side of the cubicle and like asking him questions. He's like, "Hey, look at the newspaper," and it says like the town they live in is the best place on earth.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's always little cues to try and
very North Korea.
Where they're all trying to psychologically control him.
Yeah. He can never leave. They always come up with some way to stop him from leaving town.
Yeah,
and they keep pushing his back up on a poster so they get a shot of him for advertisement purposes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that building there too. If you look where the pipe is, it's clearly like a facade put on top of an actual building, just because of the way it's designed. Even the sign like that it's on is fake too. Like it's all props.
Yeah. And just the fact that they would instill psychological trauma on a child. As a failsafe to prevent him from leaving.
The first baby adopted by a corporation.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
First thing we're gonna do is traumatize him so he can't leave. Yeah.
And the people love it.
I hope he sues in the second movie.
Yeah. That's the implication, right? I mean, you'd have to assume that eventually he finds out, and you'd have to have like a whole plan in place to just dump a bunch of money on him. Like, calm down, Truman. We knew you would eventually find out. So here's your retirement home and more money than you could ever want. Probably don't go out in public. I also found out that the movie, the director was inspired by Michael Jackson. Because Michael Jackson's whole life turned into this, basically. It just turned into like a show. Yeah.
That was very interesting. So when you guys mentioned that there was like an alternative version of this written?
Yeah, there was the original script was not this at all. It was way darker and way more sci-fi, and they ended up scrapping it. It was
they probably kept it a mystery.
Well, probably. And Truman lashes out. I think that's the big final moment, like as soon as he realizes, he like attacks his best friend and starts trying to choke him and stuff because he's of all the emotion in the moment. Yeah.
I prefer this version.
That's more realistic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this one's a lot more. Yeah, it has hope. It's not just like this dark story in the first one, which might be super dark.
Uplifting. Yeah.
Well, it just hits you so hard. Like I don't know what you were talking about before, Evely, but like the ending scene hits me so hard, like emotionally, where it's just like where he makes the choice to, his will against his God, essentially talking down to him.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, yeah.
I like McCoppin said in the chat. Did you guys see what he wrote about what if he isn't actually leaving the show? This is just another plot line, and the gag is that once he escapes, he's actually in another layer of the show, and he hasn't really escaped. He's entered a bigger version of the show.
This is very quickly turning into like a Rick and Morty skit, for sure. And speaking of,
I think it just ended at that point. Like,
yeah.
Well, I will say, and then I guess we're at the end, but like, no, it is interesting though that like he was willing to do anything to keep control over essentially his son, right? Like he's like, more lightning, right? And then right as he's about to die, he's like, okay, stop. So it's like he couldn't. He went as far as into actually being able. He couldn't.
It may have been too late already by then, though. That's the thing too. It was enough to kill him. He went overboard.
Welcome, Kahuna.
Kahuna,
how you doing?
The whole thing was just a metaphor for God and his creations and stuff, and like the Great Flood. There's so much symbolism in the whole fucking movie. Like right off the bat, when he's drawing soap on the mirror, okay. He's a spaceman. The confines of the mirror are like boundaries, and what do spacemen do? They break free of their boundaries. Like he's gonna escape his world, and it's the whole thing is just brilliant. I don't know. It's like these are the days where movies were just better. They were different creatures,
There was some. Every era has its version of movie magic, and Truman was slotted in that kind of time period of movies as well. But Bats, you said something earlier that was interesting, and you brought up how they let us in on the secret right away as people watching the movie. And I think I know why. I think I know why they did that, because they kind of made us part of the experience, because we just became a part of the world watching Truman.
Yeah. And
then we're rooting for Truman with everybody else. I think that's why they did it.
Yeah, it is creepy. It's
no longer really a mystery at that point. It's more of a will he escape? It's just a single question. And will he choose?
Will he continue to be a slave? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like it is like really creepy, and they go back to all the people, out in the audience, and you got like people ignoring their child,
shower guy, the diner people.
Yeah, well, just people just like completely ignoring their life and just to watch him. So it's like, who's the real slave?
It's like, are we slaves too? Because we're watching them watch him and watching him as well. Like,
and the one scene, their own child is in the background, and they're just ignoring their kid growing up to watch a guy on a screen grow up.
Mm-hmm.
I did troll watch it, so.
Oh, so who watched this at 3 times speed? Justin?
No, I didn't. I watched this in normal time, but I'll come clean. I watched this a couple of months ago, and I thought my memory would be very fresh and up to speed. I watched a recap that was about 40 minutes, and it's I'm learning that nope.
Yep. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
You're
fired. You're fired.
He's on another podcast. We can't fire him. He will always be on a podcast somewhere. Also, Belmont. You do comics, man. I think I'd make a great comic book character. Honestly, just as I am. You don't need to change nothing.
And back to Truman Show. Anyways.
Yeah, I'll put you in.
What happened to some of the middle of it? Because there was a lot that I meant to take note of, and of course I didn't. I was taking notes on something else. But yeah, no. What happened in the middle, guys? What happened? There's a whole movie in the middle.
He kind of he kind of goes back and forth. He starts pushing the boundary more and more until he kind of has his mental breakdown. And they think they have him after that because they bring in the dad and the whole thing there. But part of it is just him realizing more and more stuff is not adding up.
Well, we read something in Nightmare Painter that is actually kind of very relative to this, and being kind of the strongest bars are that of one of I don't remember how the line goes, but it's like scaring somebody into jail essentially. Or keeping them the greatest bars of like slavery is like fear, something like that.
I know what you're talking
Hardcore.
about, but that's not even close.
No.
That's the other
Like
thing.
I
The
know
only-
exactly what
the
you're
only-
referencing.
It's got the heart of it.
Completely butt fucking wrong.
The only thing that was holding Truman back was fear, much like everybody in real life. Like, there's so many layers to this movie. Like,
There was more to it than that. They really went out of their way to keep him there. When
There was a whole ocean that they manufactured.
I mean,
Fires,
but in the end,
bridge
he
closing.
did it. I mean, in the end, he
I
did
love
it.
at the end when there's like the disaster like at the plant.
Yeah.
And then at first he's like, all right, I guess this is it. And then the guy calls him Truman, and he's obviously never met him. He's like,
Yep.
this is all bullshit.
No problem, Truman.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
crazy about that scene is whenever he then runs into the forest, if you look at the forest, the trees are in lines, showing that it
Oh,
didn't
I
occur
saw that,
naturally,
yeah.
that even the forest was created as a set.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God,
man,
that's amazing.
details like that you would never know to notice unless somebody pointed them out. The movie's full of things like that.
You know
Like
what
that,
makes me,
that heavy
you,
spoilers covers all of it. It's just like, no way.
you know what makes me think of this movie in
What?
normal everyday life is like
Everything.
I'm an outdoorsy guy. I'll
The
go.
UK.
I'll go. Yeah.
I thought you just said I'm a mountain gay.
No. We all know who would be the baby boy. in
Only
prison.
gave you like
That's awesome. No, but I'll go up into the mountains. I'll go somewhere. I'm like, this is so remote. This is so out there. No one has ever surely been here. Or I would like to think that, and then I'll look over and like see a beer can. I'm like, damn it, every time. I think I've escaped like the touch of humanity a little bit.
Brokeback Una.
broke Bakuna.
First of all, how dare you? How dare you? You who married like one of the dolphin participants from Flipper.
I can't quit you, Libretta.
She always has like the comment.
No!
Dude, my son even. You hear him? He's like, that's a fire comment. My son is saying, yeah.
Oh, I hear him. Yeah, no, I have my boys with me too. That was part of the delay. That and then like a head-on-head collision on the way home too. That was fun.
I'm like, man, how did they convince Truman to marry this woman though?
They didn't. She forced
gaslit the
herself
hell
on-
out of him.
No,
Yeah.
she forced herself
She
on
was
him.
a
and so-
she was a rebound. They admit like
No,
he was
no,
a-
yeah.
his heart was broken, and women have their ways.
So that's more childhood trauma, right?
No, why? Kahuna games, no. How dare you?
I think I saw that. That was never mind.
Yeah, no, I will
What's the
say
third one, Herman. Kahuna games 3.
criticism here of the movie. That woman put up zero fight up against that guy when he was like, "Oh, it's my daughter. She's just losing it. Don't worry about her." You know.
No, she
can just
said
other
words.
guys.
That's all women are capable of. Obviously,
he like
that's all.
puts her in
Back me
the,
up here. Women can't do things.
whoa! My wife is in the chat.
Joe, why would you say that about women? Also, AC, tell Katie I'm sorry if she's there.
Oh, no.
Oh no, there's
Yeah, your wife scares me. She could take me out. I'm pretty sure.
She's scary, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
She's like behind him, like with the kitchen. Oh, no, anyway. Here we are. Kahuna Games 3. The mounting. Why? Damn it!
Oh, speaking of D, and one cool thing in this movie is that there's a scene where he's having breakfast, and on the table with his breakfast is vitamin D pills because they don't have the sun there. So he's
Yeah.
got.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
seen
I
that.
didn't notice
Oh, they're the more you watch this,
Yeah.
the more things you catch. It's a pretty
Even
incredible.
the classical music is all anybody listens to. It's because it's royalty free, so the show doesn't have to like pay for music.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen this video you've mentioned before.
It's good. It's
Yeah,
like 40
but-
minutes. Some British guy, well, 20 minutes if you watch it correctly, giving you all kinds of interesting background stuff, like the travel agent that when he goes in, they weren't expecting him to go there, so she comes out and she's like, "Oh, hi, Truman." She's got the napkin.
Yeah, so they
on.
just grabbed a random extra.
But the napkin, I didn't know what that was, and that's like if you need to get touched up for makeup in the actor chair real fast,
Oh.
they put that on to protect your clothes, and she forgot to take it off, and that's why it was still there. And I'm like,
Because
I
it's
didn't
so
know that. I thought she was
hairy,
having like a a croissant or something.
Oh,
She's
I
having a little Cinnabon.
I have a question. I have a question. Do you think that the man Ed Harris, his character, do you think he wanted, in his heart of hearts, for Truman to escape?
No.
No.
I don't know.
That's
I've
like-
thought about it a couple.
Do you think?
No, I think it's actually allegory for a father-son and a father trying to be overly controlling on the son.
Yeah, there's
keeps them in the
definitely
bubble.
that as well. But every father, even when they're super overprotective, they do want their kid to become their own person at some point.
But
Every
here's
father.
I think of it like this: like, do you think deep in his heart of hearts, underneath all that layers of protection and warmth, that George Railroad Martin really wants that last book to come out?
What? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Did he really want his kid Truman to escape the set? That's the same kind of thing. Like, I said no, and I feel like it's the same kind of vibe. He might act like it is, but it's, to put it in modern
I don't
days.
understand the reference.
He's talking about George
Game of
R. R.
Thrones,
Martin.
yeah.
Really wants that last book to come out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Does he really though, or does he just like sort of?
No, he does. He doesn't. That's beside
Yeah,
the point.
I feel
No.
like
Don't get AC started. Don't get AC started.
AC,
I'll keep going.
AC,
Symbolism.
Do it.
work with me here, man. Come on. In his heart of hearts, I think Ed Harris wanted to test Truman and put up as many barriers as he could foresee. But in his heart of hearts, I think he wanted Truman to escape. He orchestrated the end of the show. Think about everything that he did. He didn't make Truman die, but he made it. He gave him an obstacle. He gave him a dragon to overcome, so that he could escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with
Conspiracy.
the beret artists and stuff, I don't know. I think that if he could have wrote it out, if Truman would have stayed there and he could have done another like 5 seasons and just kept going, he'd have been fine with that too. By the way, I just noticed your shirt. That's great.
There's a mustache. You haven't seen.
Yeah. No, I disagree though. I get where you're coming from. I just
There's
disagree.
only room for one dog in this town.
But dude, that, like, so messed up the best friend, and when he's like, think about it, Truman.
Dude, I know.
If everyone's in on it, that means I have to be in on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
that
like,
that was screwy.
what the fuck,
Dude, they
Yeah.
pulled all kinds of psychology on him. Like you're right. She probably gaslit the fuck out of him. She forced herself on him. Like, whatever they had to do to orchestrate the marriage and then keep the marriage together, whatever they had to do, whatever she had to say.
I
And, like,
wonder how
that,
they
like,
filmed certain scenes, like because it's supposed to be a live broadcast. Just
I
lights
go-
off or what? I wonder.
Well, yeah, what about when he was a teenager and he went through his masturbation
no.
stage?
What about when he was in his early 20s and he still was in that phase? No.
I would assume that they'd cut
It's like
certain things. Like,
it's like
even
there's 10 commercial breaks a day and they all last about 2 to 3 minutes.
well, if you
No,
think about reality TV shows, they have like scrambled and like those censor blocks. I would imagine. they
Yeah,
do
but
something like
that's
that.
not live.
That
Very
was
different
probably
to do that live.
that was
Yeah, but,
probably in the other version of this movie, because like that'd be a part of like dystopian capitalism,
That-
right? Is where it's like you
See,
make
but
money
that's
off
what I'm
of everything.
saying, man.
OnlyFans.
It's like they have an HBO version of the show. It's like you want to see Truman raw and
Yep.
uncut.
Yep, that's what I was
Speaking
gonna
of
get.
which, here first part circumcision when he was.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, that's all there. That's
Jim
all
Carrey reprises his role.
Oh no!
Also, Jim Carrey killed it in this movie.
Oh.
Like people always think of him as a funny actor, and he is that. But like movies like this and 23 and a few others, he has some chops. It's not
Yeah.
just funny guy does funny thing, even though he's great. That's what he's best at.
And the director of this movie waited a year for Carey to be able to come in to do it because Carey expressed interest. He actually took a pay cut. He was going to get $20 million for any role at that point in time because he's so popular. He took 12 to do it, and the director was like, he is our guy. I will wait a year to make this happen. And like AC was saying earlier, he was in the middle of filming 2 other movies that they kind of worked around. One was Liar Liar, which still kind of fun, and the other one was The Cable Guy, which it's not very good.
Right.
So
I like that one. I like Cable Guy.
dude, rewatch it. It's
I have rewatched it. It's pretty good.
I watched it like 3 weeks ago. It was
But-
barely watchable. But
You
this
guys-
movie out of the 3 is absolutely the best all around and will probably last the longest, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Little Kahuna.
Little
Mini-
Kahuna.
Hey.
Mini Kahuna.
Little Kahuna.
Oh, you want to say something to the audience?
Yes.
What do you want to say? Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Party on, dude.
All right,
Party
kiddo.
on.
Hey,
Excellent.
say bye.
excellent.
Say bye.
Bye.
Hey, go play with your Legos, okay? And if you fight your brother, you're in trouble.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like what we've all suspected with the Truman, whether it's like a 1984 scenario or just like God, right? There's a lot of God references. It got a little biblical there.
Well, even at the end when Ed Harris is like talking from the sky.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wait a second.
Ed Harris was he was not the first choice for that role either. The most
Ooh.
biggest name of people it was offered to was Jack Nicholson.
Dude,
Oh,
that could
was
have been a
like-
good choice too, but Ed Harris did a great job.
And even the script that before Weir took it on, they pitched it to a whole bunch of other directors, including
Spielberg?
Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg is a great director, but it doesn't seem like his kind of movie. It doesn't seem like one that would have really inspired him in the same way.
I think he agreed with you because he passed it up.
Yeah, I like when he starts to like lose it. He attacks the wife, and she's like, "Help me! This is so unprofessional."
Yeah,
It's
and she, like,
what?
Immediately goes into the arms of the best friend, but it has completely different context. It's like that was a trope, by the way. The wife like stumbling into the best friend's arms, and he's like the knight in shining armor
I'm a
against the
professional.
evil husband or whatever, you know.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Oh, bye, AC. That was a great point.
But it has different context because he's a coworker. You know what I mean?
That has to be weird. Like if you're not just like one of the extras like running around, you're one of the regulars. Like that's gotta be a weird like double life kind of thing you have going on there, or not even double life because you're there like full time unless it's night.
There's that really awkward scene towards the beginning where I think it's his wife, and I think the implication, because it's like part of the intro, I think the implication is it's her outside of the show doing an interview at some point. Like it has to be behind the scenes, right? Because but she's just like over and over. She's like, yeah, my life is the Truman Show, you know, the Truman Show is my life. It's everything. It's my life. You know what I mean? Like she
because it never ends.
Yeah,
if you are on that show, like that has to be it.
It's
like
your
I
life.
assume like there's what?
Yeah.
Little who
I
knows.
mean,
that's almost got to be like, I don't know why you would volunteer to do that. Like your whole life, you're just stuck doing a 24-hour like shift essentially.
Sorry, like what I was saying. There's probably a contractual thing like where the wife's like, I have to die at some point.
Yeah,
character.
No, I mean people seek attention, right? You know, they'll do anything for attention.
It's so real, dude. It's
true.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, like, the movie's more
She
applicable
gets the-
now than it's ever been because like we're all basically on our own version of the Truman Show. If you have a presence online.
Oh, dude, our phones, we already know our phone cameras don't shut off. You know.
Well, yeah, it's like the Truman Show's so creepy. You're always on camera. It's like you carry a camera on you that's probably spying on you.
Same thing, yeah.
Well, dude, that's like people that are like, I'm not putting a chip under my skin. It's like you carry one around at all hours of the day, everywhere you
But
go.
also, don't put a chip underneath your skin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just
people
saying,
are becoming
you
a
don't have
lot more
to.
comfortable with that idea.
You already carry it. I mean, you're already there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some people argue that we're already cyborgs.
Well, this is the grooming process. You
They're
get us
wrong,
used,
but
you get
they're
us
not that
used
far
to,
off.
well, you get us used to carrying it around and addicted to that, and eventually we're going to demand an easier access to our
convenient.
addiction. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cancer speed run. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Oh,
Well, it's the thing.
It's like
As
I'm
she-
going to speed run cancer. Give me 2 months. Microchip in the arm. Yeah, going to L.A. I had to do the show. I'm an attention whore. That's okay. That's okay.
No, and the detail like nobody can actually do any of the jobs. Like they need to have to get the rescue boat ready, and they're like, nobody can.
We're just
Nobody knows how to drive the
we
boat.
can't actually do that. Yeah,
That was good writing too, because earlier the bus driver, he's like, he looks back at Truman, he's like, okay, this is off script, and then he purposely fucks up the bus, and then later on that same bus driver is trying to operate like the boat or whatever and fucks it up on accident, and he's like, I'm just a bus driver. I don't know, that was
that's great.
a little bit of poetry there, in my opinion. That's cool.
Yeah, well, it's like they really didn't care about his safety.
I'm wondering why he never noticed all the hidden cameras. Like they're hidden pretty well, But you figure he would have just found one at some
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
but
it's like he said, people just accept their reality, you know? And it's like they probably came up with a random excuse. The radio started talking about people like some thug is going around putting cameras in people's houses or something like that.
Well, it's kind of like the Matrix. It's like, yeah, I think if you don't know, like, if you were in a cage that you could not see or feel or taste or touch, would you even know it? Like, same kind of thing.
This is bros. This is an entire trope that I actually love. It's called the bird cage.
Okay.
Humanity in a bird cage. I don't know if you're familiar with it. The most famous recent example, I mean, Truman is an example and super famous, obviously, but the most famous recent one is Attack on Titan. How they're stuck in the walls and on the island. Yeah. It's humanity in a bird cage, and this is I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier, but yeah. It's like what Kuhn was saying, like, I don't know, confines. It's like that astronaut thing with the soap. I don't know.
Well, I think the difference is the walls were in Attack on Titan are very obvious. They're like 100 meters high or taller. It's like there's no invisible.
Never missed those.
It's heavy-handed.
I guess like the only thing preventing them from leaving those walls is fear. So in a way, the walls aren't real. Yeah, like they're told to.
Well, it's a legitimate fear, though. It's kind of a lot.
It doesn't really track. I agree with you.
I mean,
But all right, so what about the symbolism of the radio changing channels into the actual people kind of giving directions for on set? And it can be like as if you just tune in to a different radio feed, you can hear the Clockwork Elves on the other station.
Turn into a different frequency for life, so to speak.
The ones that are controlling us, and the elites.
Psychedelic frequency.
You can hear the lizards going all the way in DC. Michelle?
Michael?
Identity theft is not a joke.
That's not the Michael I was talking about, actually.
I know which one you're talking about.
Whoa! No!
Whoa! I'm gonna read that. Somebody help! I'm a prisoner.
That's canon. That's canon.
But okay.
Now, guys, for legal reasons, I have to say this is it's not true. It's a joke. I'm sure she's very happy and definitely not chained up in the basement. I'm sure that's the case.
Disclaimer: we only have the best hosts on the show.
Only the best.
That was it.
All right, I guess we could do the roundabout. Guess what? I think we all agree.
All right, clean shaven Destiny. Cool.
Who has access?
Whoa! Excuse me.
Who has access to the YouTubes?
I don't have a gray shirt anymore.
We need to put a vote in the chat. We need to start doing that.
Hey, we know what the result's gonna be. Come on. We all know it's a. You just watched a clip from the Iron Seas podcast. Make sure to like this, subscribe, it helps us out a little bit. And please catch the show live at 9:30 Eastern every Tuesday.